Okay. Thank you all. Thank you all for being here. This is our first big public meeting that we've had in a while. We used to have a lot of them. We've had some major developments over the last few months. We've reformatted the CalExit Corporation. We've achieved many big accomplishments, and we have some great things coming out in the future. Uh, I wanted you to hear it from the person who's been directing it and has been the primary visionary. Dr. Xavier Mitchell. He is the CEO of multiple publicly traded companies, in addition to other companies. He is a distinguished veteran. He's also a leader in the business community. He knows many people in the political establishment, especially in the San Diego area. He's received an entire day in San Diego dedicated to him. And he's been the guy who's been doing a lot of big things. He approached me and a few other business partners a few months ago, and he simply said, "What do you need?" And then we said, "We need a lot more than just help. We need leadership." To which he came in, he used his business acumen. We reformatted the corporation, reformatted the website, built staff, built the organization, started to move into lobbying, and here we are. So I don't want to give too much. I want you to hear it from the source himself. Dr. X, how would you, before we get into the meat and potatoes, briefly in just a minute, how would you introduce yourself, sir? If you were meeting somebody in the elevator, you had a minute to let them know who you are, how would you introduce yourself, sir?
That's a great question. I actually never knew how to answer that because I'm always evolving as a man and as a person because I'm learning every day, just like I am with CalExit. But I'm just a regular person. I mean, I love to learn. Um, my background is not in politics. My background is in business, film and television primarily. But we also have holdings in mining and crypto, blockchain. Um, Music, and sports. But other than that, I'm a dad. I'm a son. I'm a regular Californian, born and raised in California.
Where were you born and raised?
Born in Los Angeles, raised in the good old Rialto, i.e., the Inland Empire.
And then you also joined the military, is that right?
Yeah, I joined during Desert Storm. Thank God I didn't have to go, but it was during Desert Storm, so it's kind of dating me a little bit because I like to tell people I'm 21, 31, but yeah, it's dating me a little bit. In fact, the day we were supposed to be deployed, I was based in an area called Fort Ord, which is in Northern California. It's closed now. They sent everyone from, excuse me, from Fort Ord up to Fort Lewis and closed Fort Ord down. But the day I was supposed to be deployed to go, the war was over. Like they came out, we were literally waiting on the tarmac to get on the plane to leave, and they called us and said, "You guys go back to your barracks." And we were like, "What's going on?" They said, "We'll talk in the morning." And that was the day they called it off.
Wow. So you were going to go be deployed to war, and at the last minute, it changed.
Yeah. Yep.
Additionally, you started a nonprofit out of San Diego, and you've helped some people out. Um, let's get to the vision. You met me early on. We were doing well, but you obviously saw room for improvement. Roughly from a CEO business leader background, what are some of the changes that have happened that you oversaw? Bringing on staff, hiring people, making pages for different sponsorship package, trying to let businesses know how we related to them. What was the vision that you had, and what was some of the background infrastructure that you've been building over the last 2 months? Like, walk us through, because you gave me a paper of we're going to be doing this by this date and this by this date and hiring this people and doing these people. What was the vision you had? What was some of the stuff? Give people kind of a 2 minute look into how you reformatted the corporation and how you built it as a business leader.
Yeah. Well, I just looked at some of the existing operations and ideas and concepts that we employed with some of the other businesses that I have, and I just assumed that if we were to integrate some of those ideas into what CalExit is doing, that it could be viable. For example, the crypto space, the NFTs and all that stuff that went away really fast after it launched, but it went away because there was really no utility. Excuse me, everyone. I'm getting over a little bit of something, but there was no utility being applied to the tokens, to the NFTs. So with that being an issue, especially with SEC, it just basically would seem as if people were purchasing a piece of art for nothing, because there was nothing that people could use. There was no tangible viability to the token associated with it. But it's back now, four times as popular as it was before, because now to issue a token, there's a difference between a crypto token and a coin. A coin, you have to there's a certain regulation process you have to employ going through the SEC. But with the token, there has to be utility associated with it only. So, for example, the person who buys a CalExit NFT or a CalExit token, there has to be viability and utility attached to it. So there has to be perks, benefits. They need to be transferable. There has to be something tangible that has some sort of value, because the person who purchases that token or that NFT after the original owner has it, those perks and benefits needs to transfer over, and there need to be some sort of benefits associated with it. So my first idea was, okay, how do we get, without knowing anything about politics, the one thing I didn't know was that you need capital in order for the
Unfortunately true.
yeah, yeah, not only for the company to sustain itself, but in order for it to grow and scale, for you to get other like minds and um, qualified staff on board. So it's just business 101. If they say work your strengths and hire your weaknesses. So you and I both know I know where I'm weak, and it's obvious where you're strong. So you having the resume in the political world, not just in the political world, but with CalExit, I said, well, maybe there are some areas where I could contribute my experience to marry these two opportunities to one another, to bring some viability, to help CalExit not just grow in stature, but how do we bring people on board that could help the movement and propel it forward. So I also felt that being involved with CalExit, you have to realize that CalExit just is not about one particular industry or one particular aspect of California. There are people in California that are concerned with healthcare,
Mhm.
housing. There are tech guys that are wondering if their idea or concept is going to be suppressed or has to be controlled through the government. There are issues. There are homeless people, unhoused people that I know that can't afford housing. I know a myriad of people that have been priced out of California and that would love to come back, but they can't because they can't afford it. The education and academic system needs a lot of help. I mean, there's pretty much, well, we know what's going on with the immigration situation. So there's just a myriad of issues that California is facing that need competent people to get involved and deploy strategies in order to learn how to um, uh, provide solutions. For example, what we decided to do was some of those issues that I just named: medical, healthcare,
Yes,
real
sir.
estate, tech. So we're forming commissions. Well, we have formed commission, medical, healthcare. So there's going to be around 20 commissions, and for each of those commissions, we're assigning a credible person to head those commissions, so they can come up with solutions to share with the rest of California, to explain how we could be concerned with every Californian and not just one or two particular Californians. So the idea was to address as many leading issues in California as we can, and that's what we're doing.
So traditionally, the CalExit movement would say, well, you know, it'd be up to the voters. And I remember when you came in, you go, why are people going to back this if they don't know what they get, if they don't know how life gets better? You can't just tell them things are going to get better. You have to show them. You have to show them how farming, ag, health, teaching, education, children get better. And I remember you were very big on homeless. You were like, we have got to address this issue. 3D
Yeah,
printed homes.
yeah. It's surprising to me because I really don't know. You're homeless for a reason. You just aren't bored, and today you're gainfully employed and have a family, and then you go to the streets. There's some sort of transition that occurs in order for you to become unhoused. So that transition, which is a bridge between being gainfully employed, happily married, or what have you, to being unhoused, there's that bridge that CalExit wants to make sure that we address. It could be you lost your job, you having issues with your marriage, um, drugs, which is another issue. But all these issues somehow even we can't address them all overnight, but we can absolutely make sure they're prioritized and they're addressed. Because I'm sure, um, okay, well, if you look at how many people are unhoused now, then you look at the different countries where there is a zero population of unhoused.
Right.
There has to be some sort of connection between what is this area doing to have no unhoused people to who and what we are we doing? How do we address those? Because it's not just a one solution for all. There are people who want to be off the street, and there are some people who are big issue. Also, big issue is mental illness. Criminal justice, criminal reform. Like it's just so many of these issues that there has to be a way where we can put a strategy together and just start knocking them off the list because we're putting the right people in the right place.
So this isn't just about looking into the idea of making an independent nation. You're trying to fix long-term social ills, and you're not standing by and you're going, well, let's jump in and see if we can get better on the housing situation. Is that fair
Yeah,
summary?
just let's just provide solutions, Marcus. That's all. We can
Okay.
put them on the table. It's just like food. It's like I'm not a big guy for vegetables. I only like a certain kind of vegetable. But you put the food on the you put everything on the table on the plate. And if the Californians don't want it, they can't say we didn't provide. We didn't try it.
You were talking about bringing jobs. You had a few ideas to bring jobs early on. What was that vision? I know we're still working on gelling it, but roughly what was that vision, sir?
Okay, well I'll give you a couple examples. One,
Please.
um, let's use real estate as an example. So I have some activity in what's called 3D concrete printing. What that basically is they're doing it. They have a couple of test studies in Texas. They just did one somewhere in California where they built the first 3D printed hotel. They look like bungalows, and it's not like a hotel that you would think about like Hyatt or anything like that. But with 3D concrete printing, you can essentially build a house depending on the size of the house in a couple of days. So with one of our projects, you can literally build a 3D concrete printed neighborhood with about 80 to 100 houses in less than 6 months. The issue with
Wow.
that, yeah, well, the issue with that, because I had a meeting with Mayor Gloria in San Diego about this. The issue with that is the number of jobs you take for doing that. So it's like, how do you reconcile you being able to build several thousand homes in a year? Because California, every state and every city has a projected number of houses
Right.
that must be built according to the population. California is massively for the last several years. We're underproducing when it comes to developing. So there's not enough developers building houses, but there's a need for housing. So one of the solutions is okay. Well, why not we consider 3D concrete printing to basically let's say hypothetically California is projected or needs to build. I'm just throwing a random number out there. Let's say 200,000 houses. Well, maybe 50,000 or 25,000 of those homes could be 3D concrete printed. They're much more affordable. The structure integrity is second to none. I mean, you could. It's like the whole old um, what's that fable tale with where the wolf comes and blow. You
Yeah.
puff and puff,
Yeah.
but you want to blow these houses down because
Yeah.
they're so structurally sound. They're built for a fraction of what a traditional stick built house is built. I mean, a fraction. So, if a stick built house is actually built for $500,000, well, you could that same house you could build with 3D concrete printing for less than half of that, depending on the scale and scope of the property. So one of them is aside from the 3D concrete printing being able to employ not only just employ people, but you can bring people back to California that are looking for houses. You can get people off the street into these houses for very, very minimal pricing. But with Mayor Gloria, and I'm sure that's going to be consistent with a lot of the different municipalities around California, is how do you compensate or how do you reconcile for those jobs that are lost? But the other idea is bringing one of the largest cell phone carriers in the world that has over 1.5 billion users. Well, bringing that company, getting them to have a base here in California because they provide not just, excuse me, not just cell phone service, but Wi-Fi and everything that, excuse me, everything that Verizon and all other providers provide. But these guys are twice as large as they are. Um, Bringing a car manufacturing company here to provide jobs. Um, what else was there? Oh, the high speed rail system. So you probably already know earlier the year, Trump sent his transportation guy, to discuss the high speed rail system here in Los Angeles. Well, he came to Los Angeles, but they took the funding away and just basically said that the it's a pie in the sky concept and it'll never happen. But I'm thinking to myself, well, I have relationships over in overseas, and in my few discussions with them, I said, well, we need $16 billion to finish this high speed rail system, and they're basically was like they're they're under the impression that they don't understand why California wouldn't do it. And I said, well, it's not California. It's a little bit higher up. They're the ones who's making the decision not to help us or to move forward with it. So my question to them straight up was, well, why don't you guys give us the money? And they said, well, if we can come up with some terms, we would love it. Like, they're under the impression that there's a deal there. No one's come and talked to them about funding it. So if we don't have to go to the government to accept this money from overseas, and we can come up with some terms that are amenable to California and to the investors, I don't know why we wouldn't explore that. I can't. I have no idea how many jobs that's going to fill,
So you're not
create.
just talking about a vision for California independence. We wanted to show people some of the things that could already be done and how you can make life better and improve it. And I basically just showcase that California can do its own independent negotiations. I want to respect your time, so we're going to move to the next section. Uh, you've been around about 2.5 months, 3 months. I've been here about 10
End of,
years.
the end of January, beginning of February. So I don't know what day you guys officially brought me in, but I do know it was the end of January.
Okay. A couple months. I've been at this for more than 10 years. And what I've been saying is I've been blown away by the accomplishments we pulled off in the last 2 months. So a fundraiser was held. A high-level Democrat, Dr. Harmon, agreed to be part of CalExit. There's actually some lobbying attempts with Sacramento-based politicians about doing an official investigation into CalExit. Also created the cryptocurrency, sent out 1 million text messages, about 300,000 emails to other people. Tell me about your connection with Dr. Harmon and about her connections with the political establishment to whatever degree that you can.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly don't even know the word to use, but when I can say is, had it not been for a Dr. Harmon in San Diego, there would be no Dr. Shirley Weber as Secretary of State. She would be Secretary of State. Uh, there would be um, no, well, for better or for worse, there would be no Karen Bass. There'd be no Governor Newsom. She's just really, really. She's 93 years old, but you wouldn't be able to tell how to by the way she moves. She's extremely convincing. She doesn't accept no for an answer. And if you're going to have any um, if you're running a campaign, and you're putting yourself in any sort of political spotlight, and running for office, you have to go through San Diego. And if you go through San Diego, hands down, you have to go through her. You could literally Google this and see who she is to politics. She's very, very, very powerful, and if she says something's going to happen, something's going to happen. And Marcus, you could even feel free to share the context of that message that you heard today. I'm okay with that.
Well, I'll point out that Dr. Harmon said to all of us, Kamala's not going to be governor. And we're all like, what? And then the next day came out in the newspaper. So she knew stuff nobody else did. And I was also told before Kamala could run for presidency, she had to run by Dr. Harmon. So massive connections. There's pictures of her with Biden and Atkins. She does have a strong connection with Tony Atkins, who does appear to be the front runner for governor. And can you talk about that?
Well, yeah, I was hoping you would, because
Okay. All right.
you heard the message, right?
Yep, I did. So, okay, I just wanted to be clear. Um, Dr. Weber knows a lot of people. Not Dr. Weber. Dr. Harmon knows a lot of people. She's basically the matriarch of Democratic politics. They call her the Queen of San Diego Democrats. She says she's the Queen of all Democrats. You don't run for office if you don't go through her. Like, there's literally pictures of her with Kamala and Biden. Um, Dr. Weber, also Tony Atkins. Tony Atkins was the most famous LGBTQIA candidate in California history. She made a massive impact. She's running for governor. And recently, in the last 48 hours, she's gotten a massive bump because Kamala said she's not running, which basically opens up the lane for Tony to take it all. We heard today, with permission, that Tony Atkins is willing to meet with us, the CalExit people, directly as she's moving forward in her campaign. So we're going to be able, through Dr. Harmon, we're going to be able to lobby the top governor candidate for the world's fourth largest economy directly as being, we're interested in independence. So Dr. Harmon has approached Tony Atkins about this. Tony Atkins knows exactly who we are, and she's still willing to meet with us. That's in addition to some other people we can't announce just yet. And yeah, massive impact. I didn't know that we would get this far. One of the things I wanted to ask you about was I've been in this for 10 years, and our goal was always like, you got to go for a vote. You got to go and have people vote for independence. But something I've learned with you in this group, um, we don't have to do that necessarily. We could have the government of California call for a blue ribbon panel, an official investigation into CalExit. And Dr. Harmon has gotten that and has been a big champion in helping us reach out to legislators. It only takes two legislators to propose a blue ribbon panel, five to confirm it. We've also learned that you can get a resolution passed that only requires one senator and one assembly person. Dr. Harmon has agreed to help us shepherd those along and lobby. Am I understanding how significant this is that we finally have a lobbying connection to actual real politicians where we can have a direct pipeline conversation with them about CalExit? I've never seen this in 12 years. I could never get any politician to respond. Now we're having Tony Atkins say she wants to meet us. This is pretty significant, yes?
Yeah, but again, that part of that, half of that is your world, and the other half of that is my world
Yes,
because
sir. Yes, sir.
I don't know what to do with those relationships like you know. So all I can do is open the door for you to like you the door is open like you know. So now it's a matter of okay, what do you want them to do clear and specifically? Because before I met you, I knew nothing about a blue ribbon panel. I knew nothing about the signatures. I knew how none of that worked. But what I did know is common sense. In order for CalExit to work, it's going to take a lot of educating people because we don't want to seem as if this is a hook or a gimmick. And then number two, we have to make sure we appeal to what is on the heart and consciousness of the people of California. And for us, for them, it might be someone in agriculture that we have to resonate with. And on the other side of the spectrum, it might be someone who resonates with criminal reform. So it's not just one message. So as you're talking to these politicians and asking them what it's going to take or how do we get the blue ribbon panel, it's unfortunate. I know that any politician that gets involved with us is going to look at it as a situation for them to get closer to winning. So I'm not sure how a politician will look at us and intrinsically say, okay, I just love the idea of California to succeed from the United States, but we have the the task of sharing all of our different concepts so that way all these different a politician in San Diego is going to have a different mindset than a politician in Fresno. So our pitch to San Diego is going to be different to the politicians in Fresno and Northern Cal and Los Angeles. But we just have to be prepared for all of them because if we just say, okay, well, our pitch, let's succeed from California because uh, we we feel that from an agriculture perspective, we're
Right.
being taken advantage of. Well, that people in LA won't care about that. So people in
Right.
LA, yeah, people in LA are going to be they're going to resonate with drugs and healthcare and crime. San Diego, they have their own thing. So we just have all these different types of apples to bite that we have to get to. If that makes any sense, it's just a multi-layered, massive endeavor that I just want to give a try. I just want to give a try to. I mean, if this was easy, listen, everyone on this team that you know this, Marcus, you know this viscerally well. Everyone on this team is making crazy sacrifices to see this happen.
Yes, sir.
So that's what I respect. It's like we can't afford to pay people. So the people who come on board and tough this out with us, I mean, you have no idea how not just amazing that is, but how special it is for people to people that will believe in us, because it is going to take innumerable. I didn't even know the real number until JJ spoke it uh, on the other phone. We just had on the other day on the phone. It's like we just have a massive amount of help that we need, because this mountain, it gets bigger every day. But as it gets bigger, we're also bringing more and more resources and ability to climb that mountain that we didn't have before. So I'm not sure if that answered your question, but I'm just speaking. Yeah, I'm just talking
It
right now because
it does. You're doing great. You're giving us some insights. So I want to respect your time, but I do need to ask you about the influencer event. An event to break the internet. One house, multiple influencers, each with roughly, I don't know, I heard 1 million followers each, hosted by Dusty the Rapper, who himself has several million followers on Instagram. What is this, sir? What is this about? What is the influencer event?
right. So Dusty's been employed by several campaigns, um, and one of which I'm not going to share the
Of
name of
course,
the
of course.
but specifically that person employed Dusty because Democratic candidate didn't want to pay for his services. They wanted him. That candidate raised the Democratic candidate raised hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars, but they didn't want to pay Dusty for his services. Well, he has a team and he has a strategy, because he's already vetted and confirmed as a very, very viable partner as it comes to social media. And from JJ, we learned that back in the day, there was that whole argument between how much money to dump into traditional marketing and how much money to dump into social media.
Yes, sir.
As time progressed, that ratio of budget allocation went from traditional campaigns getting the lion's share of the budget for marketing, to social media now getting the lion's share of the marketing as it pertains to campaigns. Dusty's well aware of that because he's been employed by numerous campaigns uh, to run their social media arm. Well, what that basically means is, I'll give you an example. Uh, he There's a guy that we both know that had a film, a documentary film. He asked Dusty to put his trailer on his Instagram, and he needed 1 million views. So Dusty said, "Okay, I'll do it." So he put his trailer on the Instagram, on the story, and the trailer got 1 million views. The guy and 1 million views in less than an hour. So the guy comes back and he says, "I want to do it again." So the movie is the documentary is not good at all. It's subpar at best. So he said, "Can you do it again?" So he did that 3 times with his trailer. From that happening, the guy got so many organic and so many views after that. He ended up getting a deal for the project with Amazon. Now he has a whole nother film deal, but just with that. So I'm saying that because the gravity of social media to campaigns, uh, I'm learning, is extremely valuable. And the influencer event, what we decided to do was say, well, what if we took 50 or so influencers, put them in a house, let them have an event, but the event is CalExit oriented. So it's a CalExit theme event. Put these 50 influencers in a house with the combined total of all the influencers are going to be over 100 million influencers. Excuse me, over 100 million eyeballs. So 50 influencers, 100 million followers. And just to kind of like put this in perspective, the Super Bowl is once a year, and there are 100 million people that watch the Super Bowl. Well, for us, uh, it's a little different, because when you run a commercial ad for a Super Bowl, you get your 15-second, 30 seconds, sometimes a 60-second spot for the Super Bowl. Well, now with these 100 or so followers watching what we're doing for this entire day, we have the attention of over 100 million people for an entire Super Bowl is only 2-3 hours. Well, now we're talking maybe 5 to 6, 7 hours, where we have 100 million people in and out, maybe 50 million watching, maybe at one time, maybe 30 million, maybe 10 million, but you have a combined following of 100 million people watching a project that is specifically based and oriented around a CalExit. So that should bring a little bit more attention to us. And you're gonna be there talking, and we're gonna be having some presentations there. Some of the politicians will be there, but the idea was coming up with ways where we could think outside of the box and come up with ideas to not only bring people to California to sign the petition and the online petition, but to educate them, because that is, like you told me from day one, that's going to be one of the biggest issues, is how do we educate people, because we want
Yes, sir.
I don't want a signature. I want them to know what they're signing, because what they can do with real information and real data is they can go and share it with someone else. This thing is supposed to spread like a wildfire, but as long as our messaging is on point, and we're smart and patient, like you've been, I think it has the possibility of doing exactly what it's supposed to do. And the second part of that is the film festival. So
Thank you.
we're doing what's called a short film festival for 4 to 7 minute films that filmmakers are going to submit. But the topic of the films is about CalExit, or uh, uh, a CalExit issue. So now we will have 120 filmmakers submit 4 to 7 minute films about CalExit, like it or hate it. Our job is as media and entertainment. We're non-biased. We don't want to hear the good. We want to hear the bad, because we can learn from the bad. But enter your film that is about CalExit, and whoever the winners of the film festivals, what we're doing is we're combining all of those winners, and we're going to put them on a film that we finance. So not only do you get a mention or an award or a prize for winning the festival, but now you get not just you're going to be working as a filmmaker, which is why filmmakers go get into film festivals. Is now you have an opportunity to work on a real film alongside industry professionals, and that those filmmakers will all have um, they'll have equity in the project as well. So we're just looking for partnerships here, and all the different myriad of ways to spread the focus, to spread the information about CalExit. So we're not just doing the traditional campaign route and getting paying for signature gatherers and all that stuff. It's like I'm under the impression, I'm sure we have to have those at some point, but the key word is have to have, if we need them. It's just great to know that someone signs our petition, and then someone comes to CalExit, and they're able to say, I came to CalExit because uh, I resonate with the immigration issue, or I resonate with the agricultural issue, or I resonate with the medical issue. That's the idea, is make sure that people are when you give us your signature, you're investing in us, just as little as that.
And for the film fest, I think you're talking about New Republic Pictures is where some of the names of these people may go, the people who made the Mission Impossible movement movies and the
Yeah,
Transformer
yeah,
movies.
yeah, yeah. So I have two pictures with New Republic. Those guys make Mission Impossible and Star Trek, Transformers, Top Gun. They're the upper crust of Hollywood. So the credits that I'm getting for my deals that I close with New Republic, that's one of the prizes that I'm giving to the festival winners. They'll just be able to get one of those credits, and now they'll be on one of those films with Jennifer Lawrence or whoever else. Yeah.
So these filmmakers have a chance to basically break into the industry by participating in the CalExit Film Fest. I mean, we're looking at Brian Oliver as the director on New Republic Pictures. That seems like a big connection. I don't work in entertainment like you do, but that seemed like that'd be a big leg up for somebody who's unknown in the industry.
Right. But I want them to realize that the big reward is being a part of something, because we're getting a lot of input and a lot of feedback and a lot of questions from filmmakers that are in California. So them being able to know that they're in California, and they'll all the filmmakers will resonate, because the huge thing with with the industry, the entertainment industry now is okay. Productions are leaving, so they're abandoning California, Hollywood per se, to go other places to reap larger benefits for their productions, the larger tax credits and less red tape. California is making it very difficult for filmmakers to film here.
Mm,
They go other areas, Atlanta and Puerto Rico, New Mexico. So there are a lot of other areas in the country and the world, Canada, that provide very, very American friendly or outside of California friendly credits to keep lowering um, productions there to where they are. But there's no limit on how many film projects or TV shows could get shot in a year. A lot of people think about that. A lot of people are like, well, there's only so many films. No, you don't have to limit yourself to how many films or TV
mm,
shows you can produce in a year. So
mm,
I think that's where a lot of people have there's plenty of room, just like in the world and in California. There's if you get on a plane and you look out the window, there is more uninhabited land than there is habited land, if that makes any sense. So
yeah,
people say
yeah,
we don't have room for you. I
yeah.
I don't understand that because there is plenty of room in California. There's plenty of room in the United States. There's plenty of room in this on this planet. We if you quadrupled our world's population, we still won't be able to inhabit all the land in the world. We
Mm.
still won't.
Okay, last question. I know you're a busy man. Tell me about the pack commercial. What's going on there? You have some inroads or an idea about that? Very excited about a potential CalExit pack commercial. And why is that significant, sir?
Well, I mean, shit, you guys told me about the pack. I just learned about it from you guys. But what I can say is when you do a film, the studios give you what's called a P&A budget. That stands for print and advertising. So when you walk into a movie theater and you see a film, but you see the trailers before the film, well, the reason those trailers are showing before the film is because that's part of a studio's P&A budget. So print and advertising. We're talking about um, bus stop billboards, TV commercials, social media ads, trailers that run before films. On a couple of my projects, I had a balance on my P&A fund. Oh, and radio, by the way. But I had a balance on my P&A fund that I wanted to know if I could transfer that balance over from my company, my film and television company, over to CalExit. So basically, we have credits for TV and social media. Excuse me, for TV and social media that we can use. All we have to do is provide the TV spot or the TV spots, plug them in, and the TV spots can run. TV, radio, social media spots can run anywhere at any time, as long as we target the demo properly. Because that's the big. They're not responsible for selecting it and giving what the target market is to determine what television channel or what film that it could air before. So our job is to give them not just the commercial spot, but our targeted demographic. So that's basically it. We, for all intents and purposes, it's just kind of like a credit line for TV spots and radio spots. If radio, I don't even know if radio is effective for what we're doing, but it's there.
Well, we'll look into it. And what I want to call him in a second here, but we just brought on JJ Ames, who's worked in the federal government for 4 decades and has been helping out with strategic
Can he
marketing.
talk? Can we hear him?
JJ, are you there? Could we call on you? Billy, could we unmute JJ if it's possible, if he's here?
What a great guy to hand the ball off to.
We didn't warn him that I was going to call on him. So
Oh, good. Yeah,
so
I know.
sorry.
I
Just
know the feeling.
but Billy, if you're there, if you could let and JJ, if you're there, if we could get JJ on. Anyways, JJ Ames, 4 decades in the federal government, uh, former FEMA speechwriter, teaches political science at the University of Oklahoma. He said, if you get a PAC commercial up, that's it. That's game changing because the public is so used to seeing a professional commercial for a PAC and then going, wow, they're here. So If we get one CalExit PAC commercial, it could change the game. I'm going to respect your time. If you want to take off Dr. X, go ahead. Totally get it.
Okay. Yeah, I'll get back to what I was doing. I hope I was helpful, everyone. Thank you for your support. Uh, Forgive me because I'm not feeling at my best right now, but I can't thank you all enough, especially those who have recently joined and those who have been here for the entire journey. But yeah, I look forward to being a part of this thing and doing the best I can to make it happen. And Marcus, make sure you share all the different fundraising avenues because that's really important.
Yes, sir.
We got to fund this thing. We got this tour coming up. We're trying to make California a blockchain state, the first blockchain state. If you're familiar with blockchain, that's going to provide a lot of jobs. Just there's a lot of things that we'll talk about more, but yeah, just we have to fund this thing properly. So JJ and Marcus could speak to this a lot more viscerally than I can, but I did learn we do need to raise money to get this thing off the ground. To really make a big present. So
Absolutely. I will cover that, sir. Thank
okay,
you, Dr. X. We'll have you back soon.
all right, thanks.
Oh, okay. One second. Hey, admin, could we unmute JJ? Is there any way we could do that? Anyways, while admin works on that, let me cover some of the other issues. We'd like to unmute JJ. Anyways, JJ Ames just joined our group as a board member, 4 decades in the federal government, former speechwriter, helping us with strategic communications. He's also pointed out that the PAC commercial could be huge. So just to review what you've heard, we're not just focused on signature gathering. That is obviously a huge part. We are going to refile, as we've informed all of you. We expect to be back up by early September if everything goes well. A lot of your signatures that you've already collected may be applicable to the refiled initiative. We won't know until we refile it and then ask the California government at that time, but we are going to fight for that. But I also wanted you to see everything else. I've been doing this for 10 years. And we always did signature gathering, and we always do editorials to the newspaper and rallies and get people together and post videos to social media. And that worked great. But that's all we did. Now, what we're doing is we're actually lobbying people in Sacramento. We're lobbying people who are running for high level office. We're approaching them as full blown independence people, and they're having conversations with us. We've identified that we need to push a blue ribbon panel or a resolution demanding a investigation. A resolution only requires one assembly and one senator. A blue ribbon panel requires two assembly or two senators and then 5 people to vote it in. We're working with Dr. Harmon to get that in with the people at the likes of like Tony Atkins, who's the front runner for governor and has publicly agreed to meet us. We're also looking at other major politicians. So we're starting to actually finally lobby people in Sacramento and in the political structure to do something that's what we call low hanging fruit. If you wanted to ask people to push for a vote for independence, that's a big thing. You might have to get them to say they support CalExit. What we realized was that a politician could say, I have reservations about CalExit. I'm not sure I even support it. But when you look across the TV and you see the chaos that we see, we must look into this idea, and it's better to be informed. That gives them a way of saying, I just want us to be educated. And we can get a lot more people backing that. We also realized the last couple months that if there's a TV headline that says world's fourth largest economy, the government officially investigates secession, that'll be global news. Just a blue ribbon panel announced by 2 legislators or confirmed or a resolution by 2 people will be global news, American news. It'll be everywhere, uh, just because the size of our economy. So we're working on lobbying. We're working on having a tour where we physically go out in a bus collecting signatures. We're working on collecting 1 million signatures for an online petition for additional lobbying campaign. We're going to have a film festival where the entire festival is CalExit movies. That's never happened. And then the winning film is going to be shown in movie theaters across California. That's never happened. There's never been a CalExit film festival. There's never been a CalExit movie. There's never been an influencer event with 1 million people who could watch. We're looking at 50 people with 1 million followers each. We've never even had an influencer with 200,000 views. Now we're looking at 100 million. So never been a film festival, never been a CalExit movie, never been an influencer event, never been something that big with the influencers, never got any contact with politicians, never actually started a lobby, never had politicians willing to take us on their campaign tours, never even attempted to realistically get 1 million online signatures. And that's on top of the fact that we already sent 1 million texts to people who've never heard of CalExit, about 300,000 emails, created a cryptocurrency, and hired a CEO, CFO, publicist, political director, and a strategic messaging expert, in addition to a social media expert and additional staff. We're doing a lot. It's not just about signature gathering, and I wanted everybody to see that. So I'm going to cover the questions now that everybody asked. Again, if we can unmute JJ, cool. If we can't, JJ promised to get you next time. Anyways, JJ's here. JJ's been in 4 decades in the federal government, and he just joined and was like, this can happen, and I want it. Okay, as promised, if you have questions, we can't address them this meeting, email me, marcus@calexitnow.org. That's Marcus, Marcus at calexitnow.org. Calexitnow.org is the name of the group. So Marcus, my name, Marcus at calexitnow.org. Email me any questions you had. We will make sure that every single question is addressed, if appropriate, at the very next meeting. And then we have another one after that. So we're going to get all the questions answered. We just got to do it in order. So we're going to take the questions people sent in ahead of time for this meeting. Any questions you have, email me at marcus@calexitnow.org, and I will make sure we address those next meeting. So here's the questions. We had about 12 people, about 14, 15 people, but some of them asked the same questions. So from Leslie, do you support Governor Newsom's redistricting initiative? Given that Texas is trying to kick out Democrats and through gerrymandering, Governor Greg Abbott and some other red states, and that's highly unconstitutional and un-American, basically, I think we're at the time where radical solutions are the only solutions. So CalExit is a radical solution. Sending the Marines in on a domestic protest is a radical event. Having a tumor in your brain is a radical event. It requires radical surgery in order to live. So Governor Newsom saying we're going to redistrict and push out Republicans is also egregious, but red states are already doing that. To me, this is a sign of civil war. And so, yes, I do support it because we're at the point where reasonable solutions aren't available. Like Republicans are not acting reasonable. They're just going to kick Democrats out for the first time. That's never happened in 200 years. So, yeah, we're there. From Chris. Will California honor my veterans' disability benefits without help from the federal government? Yes. California is a donor state. That means we put more into the federal government than we ever receive. By far, that includes military grants, college grants, federal loans, everything. We still lose about 82 billion. The general state fund is around 210, 240 billion. So we're losing an additional third of our budget every year subsidizing America. We do not need the federal government. We support and subsidize 35 states. So leaving means we have more money. Any money the federal government cuts, we already have that, and we have $82 billion on top of that. So absolutely your benefits will still be in place. Also, this relates to Social Security. As I understand, as long as you're a US citizen, they have to send you veteran disability benefits anywhere in the world. And they have to send you Social Security checks. That's the law. So even if you were in an independent California, as long as you had your American citizenship, the federal government still has to honor all obligations. There's Americans in Guam and the Philippines who get checks from Washington, D.C. and Uncle Sam every week and without fail. So that's the law. We're not saying anybody loses their American citizenship. We're just saying everybody would get California citizenship and retain their American citizenship. Dual citizenship is legal in America. They do it with many countries. From James, I was wondering what efforts you're making to involve other groups that support California becoming an independent nation. Well, we work very well with conservatives in states outside of California because we want conservatives to vote California out. We have said that the legal path to independence is Texas versus White, the only Supreme Court case on secession ever. The Constitution says absolutely nothing on secession. It doesn't ban it. It doesn't allow it. It says for all legal interpretations, those go to the court. Well, the court only looked at secession once after the Civil War, making it legal precedent, not the Civil War. And they said you can secede with, quote, consent of the states. Erwin Chemerinsky, top legal scholar in America, most cited legal jurist 2017, dean of 2 legal schools, also argued in front of the Supreme Court, has said that a simple majority vote of Congress, just 25 states, could qualify as consent. So we are working with conservatives in other states to let them know we don't want to live with you, we don't want to be in the same country with you, but we're reasonable and we want you to vote us out. Made big inroads. We also had a meeting. We had the largest collection of states representatives asking for independence since 1865. We were the only liberals, and then we had Alaska, Florida, Vermont, New Hampshire, Texas, Louisiana, and another state join. And while we don't share values with them at all, we do recognize that we want a legal, peaceful path to independence, and that means getting votes. Tom, I'd like to ask that CalExit use the petition at takebacksovereignty.com. Sure, Tom. We're working on getting 1 million online signatures for this. I think that'd be a good idea. Chandra, can people join that are not from living in California? Yes, move here now. By the way, we lost a congressional seat because we've lost hundreds of thousands of people. So we're in a position to have a couple 100,000 people move back in, and we just go back up to our normal population level. So yes, you can come to independent California, get here now. We also think independence will encourage people to join. From Jerry and Heron, how will this affect public programs, Section 8, Social Security? So Social Security has to be sent to you anywhere in the world as long as you're a U.S. citizen. Some federal programs would stay in place, but any that are lost, again, we're a donor state. So we pay into the federal government, and some of those federal programs pay us money that we already gave them, and then we give them $82 billion more. So any loss of federal funds will be covered by California automatically. We subsidize America. They don't subsidize us. We have subsidized America since the 1980s, 45 years. This isn't 1 or 2 years. For 50 years, California has subsidized about 30 plus states to our detriment. Florida gets $3 for every tax dollar they send. We get 75 cents. So we subsidize Texas, we subsidize the South, we subsidize the Midwest. By the way, those are the people who don't like transgendered, LGBTQ, liberal protesters, undocumented immigrants, climate change, everything we're for, we subsidize. So leaving means we make money by an extra $100 billion, period, end of story. Linda, Social Security, Medicaid, we already covered that. Dana, will people from other states be allowed to move here? Yes, covered that. Patricia, if this were to pass, what would it take to make it actually happen and to be recognized by the U.S. federal government without a war of secession? Well, thank you. We're asking for a legal vote. It is totally legal to have a vote in California through the initiative process. We filed this 4 times. It's been approved by 4 separate California ATGs. Additionally, you can ask Congress for permission to leave. Texas versus White says consent of the states. Erwin Chemerinsky said that could be a simple majority vote of Congress. So we're going to have a vote domestically here in California. We need over 52% to say yes. And then the governor or a representative from California will go to Congress and ask for permission to leave. 25 states out of the 35 red states who hate us for who we are going to say, hell yes, get the hell out. Don't let the door hit you in the ass on the way out. And then we will be legally seceded. That's how it works. A lot of the media will never mention consent of the states. There was an article out yesterday. They said Texas versus White forbids secession, period. They will not mention consent of the states is there. They will not mention Erwin Chemerinsky said it's a simple majority vote. I've told 65 reporters that. Only Max Darrow from CBS San Francisco printed it. You should ask yourself why 64 reporters can't print consent to the states or Erwin Chemerinsky's legal analysis when it's public information and takes 30 seconds to find. Patricia, what can we do to get this approved so that we no longer have to send our tax dollars to Washington? Blue ribbon panel or resolution. The easiest way to make CalExit happen right away, Call your legislator and demand that they do a blue ribbon panel or standard government investigation into CalExit. This is how Scotland became independent after half a millennia. They had the Common Commission. It was a standard investigation. They were out. We realized this is the low-hanging fruit. In addition to the signatures, if we could just get 2 legislators to start pushing for a blue ribbon panel, we're already on our path. Ron, why was there not more publicity? And Ron, why was there not an update on the signature page? We took an effort from the Obama campaign against the Romney campaign, and we realized that if you told people that we're basically there, they start to lighten up. So we wanted to make people think that we needed extra effort. More publicity. We were working on the corporation the last 2.5 months to do the accomplishments we covered now, to make the plans that we're covering in the future, and set up for successful petition signature gathering in the future. But it takes a little bit of not causing a lot of flashlights looking at you while you're building the sausage factory. Anyways, that's it for now. We'll introduce you to JJ and others next time. Email me at marcus@calexitnow.org. That's marcus@calexitnow.org. Any questions, and we will make sure to cover them next time. And that will be the end of this meeting. So we can end the recording and we can end the meeting now. And I want to thank everybody for coming out. So admin, could we end the recording? Let me call someone right now and we'll handle this. Everybody's, the meeting's over. You could take off right now, email me, and I'll get some questions to you. I have to take care of this real quick.